If you like these videos, please check out my full course at www.lsat.totaltestprep.net with tons of clearly explained actual LSAT questions written by someone who's mastered test and helped others master it, and an evaluation period where you only pay if you want to continue.
All right, so in this video, we're going to cover the author's attitude question. So what is the author's attitude question? So once again, what does this question ask for? So how is it phrased? What does it test? How do we approach it? Okay, in terms of the basic information, we see here some of the ways in which that can be phrased. So the author's attitude toward Roger Abraham's book can best be described as one of, or which one of the following can most accurately be used to describe the author's attitude towards critics of the Hippocratic Oath, or which one of the following most accurately identifies the attitude shown by the author in the passage towards talk story. So these are all pulled from actual passages, and here, as you can see, the questions generally include the words author's attitude. So these questions don't appear that frequently, but you will find them every couple of passages. They range from specific to general, but they tend to be a bit more general. Okay, so in terms of the basic information, you see how they're phrased. It talks about author's attitude. Not the most frequent of questions, and generally speaking will be more general, although they can be a little bit more specific too. Now, with respect to the question type, the author's attitude questions basically ask you to identify how the author feels about something in the text. So you're being tested in your ability to pick up on the author's tone, essentially. Now, these questions are in the same broad category as the main point questions and the primary purpose questions, in that you're being asked to analyze the author's perspective. You're focusing on the author. So author's attitude questions are going to be a bit narrower in scope because you're focusing on what the author feels. So it's not so much that you're being asked something about the overall argument. But they are still relatively general because you will need to look at, generally speaking, different pieces in different parts of the text to pick up on the author's attitude. Okay, in terms of the basic approach, the most important thing is to have a good idea of the author's tone. So first, you need to determine what the question is asking about and where you can find out what the author thinks about it. Now, the object of the author's attention is relatively easy to find, but you'll have to make a bit more of an effort identifying where to analyze the author's language to see what they think about it. So figure out what their attitude towards it is. So once you determine that, you then need to come up with what the author's attitude may potentially be. So look at the author's word choice as well as the author's attitude towards other related objects in the text. So identify the location and analyze the word choice. Finally, you then need to evaluate the answer choices against your potential answer and see if the choice accurately reflects what's in the text. So the answer choice will generally be of the form of a qualifier and then emotion or an attitude. For example, overwhelmingly angry, subtly condescending, etc., etc. So both the qualifier and the emotion have to have support in the text. You have to be able to locate where they match up with what's going on in the text. Now, more specifically, in terms of the right answer and wrong answer, the correct answer is going to present a qualifier and emotion that are both supported by the text. So the qualifier will not be too extreme, and the emotion attitude will be reflected in the author's word choice. The incorrect answers will not be supported by the text. So the qualifier may be too extreme or irrelevant, not supported by the text, and the emotion or attitude will not be reflected in the author's word choice. So those are the key elements that you're looking for to see how they match up with respect to identifying the right versus the wrong answer. Okay, so for a quick summary, basically you want to make sure to pay attention to the author's language and have an idea of what their attitude is, and then use that to evaluate the answer choices.